Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday live coaching sessions in the Bold and Successful Women's Business Group. Thank you for those who attend live and for anybody who listens to the replay. Today, we're going to talk about what type of marketer are you? This is such an important function of your business, is what type of marketer are you? If you own a business, you are a marketer. Whether you outsource it or do it yourself, you are still ultimately responsible for the marketing in your business. So what type of marketer are you? Just want to make sure I'm live on Facebook so I can see your comments over there. I have a screen. I'm on my phone right now. So give me 1 sec to just refresh. And if you're joining me live, say hi, drop a link. Let me know that you can see me. Ask any questions that you may have as we go through. And I am live. Excellent. So thank you. I was late in putting my notification out today for the session. So if you catch the replay, thank you. Please put comments in there. This is such an important topic that I want to talk about today, which is what's your marketing style and what's the difference between them. And this all stemmed from a program that I'm taking with a coach who talked about data-driven marketing. So we're going to end up in data-driven marketing, but I want you to kind of think about where you are right now. And for those who don't know me, my name is Heather Cameron of IgniteYourMarket.com, and my passion is helping women, business owners, really build the systems that allow them to turn strangers into paying clients with ease. And when I say systems, it doesn't mean automated. We'd all love to get to automated eventually, but it just means that you have something systematized so that you can repeat and improve and do the process. And marketing is one of your systems. So I want to talk about marketing, and I'm just noticing there's new buttons on my screen when I'm on Facebook. Facebook is changing things again, and that's a really important part about marketing. I want you to think about how are you marketing. So number one, let's get into the what type of marketer are you. So there are many different marketing types, and I am not going to cover them all. I just want to kind of put them in some big buckets that I see, particularly when business owners who are growing their business, trying to grow their business online, and they're trying to discover their marketing. They might be averse to marketing. They might have little to no experience in marketing, or they may be marketing and not even know that that's what they're doing because they haven't thought about it. So there's a lack of intentional marketing. So the first type of marketing that I talked about is shotgun marketing. And to me, shotgun marketing is like, okay, I'm going to do a launch today. So I'm going to launch for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to do a webinar. I'm going to go and just put marketing out there, and I'm just going to market on every channel I possibly can. I'm going to put as much out there as possible, and I'm going to do that kind of shotgun approach. Now, I see that a lot in local networking. In the days when we could local network, and hopefully we'll be able to soon, where we could do in-person networking. I always talked about shotgun networkers who would go from event to event to event, but they had no intention, right? So they're just kind of blasting stuff out there without intent. And so there's a lot of stuff, but it doesn't necessarily make sense. It doesn't connect. You're not necessarily sure of what they do, who they are. And so we see them a lot, but we don't necessarily connect and get attracted to what they're doing. And I was a shotgun marketer, shotgun networker more than anything, not so much marketer. But I did tons of networking. I was really involved and intentionally, but I wasn't involved in a way that grew my business, which, hindsight being 2020, I left a lot of opportunities on the table by not being more explicit about call to actions, about how people could work with me. People knew, liked, and trusted me a lot. I had great relationships, and I did build my business through networking, but I could have done better by being more intentional and purposeful and having stronger call to actions. So are you doing kind of shotgun networking where you're going into a whole bunch of Facebook groups, you're dropping links, and I do this too, right? So some of it's just kind of some of the stuff that we do, but there's not really a purpose. You're not leading them to something. So that's kind of what shotgun networking is. Occasional marketing. An occasional marketer is someone who's kind of I'm doing a launch, so I'm going to blast the world with marketing, and then I'm going to go kind of quiet, and then I'm going to blast the world with marketing, and then I'm going to go kind of quiet. Now, we've all been on email lists on the receiving end of that, and all of these different marketing things I have done. So I have been the occasional marketing. In fact, right now, kind of a little bit that way because I've taken a step back to really think about where I want to move things next. My base commitment is to communicate to my email list, but my social media marketing has been pretty low-keyed in the last couple of weeks. So occasionally marketing can be something that you do in a moment where you're reflecting. But if it's something you do all the time, where you're like, you have a blast of marketing because you have some time or attention, and then when you get busy you go off and you don't market, and then when you need more clients you market, and there's lack of consistency. And when you do that, you're not, number one, you're not focused on your future income, which is a lesson I learned. So when I was fully booked, when I first started business 10-15 years ago, I didn't market my business because I was fully booked and I didn't see that ending, and it did all end within a matter of a month. So I didn't see that ending, so I wasn't marketing to my future income. So when we first start off in our business, we're marketing to our current income, and then as we build up our clientele, no matter what type of business you're in, you want to continue to market to your future income as well. So occasional marketing, you know, it doesn't have any stickiness. And yes, it can be effective on that one thing that you're marketing. You may have some big launch, big blitz that you're doing, and because you're there, it can be effective, but you're again leaving money on the table and leaving opportunities on the table because you're not having a consistent marketing plan. And you're not really understanding where your marketing is going. So that's that kind of occasional marketer. And you can be a little bit of all of these things. Like I said, everyone I'm talking about, I've been these. So you can be a little bit of all of them, but it's being aware of it that's really important, so that you recognize how your marketing is working for you. And your marketing is not just social media. There's so many other ways to market. Social media just tends to be the one that we talk about when we're on Facebook because it's a social media platform, but there are many ways to market, and all of this stuff really applies to all of them. If you're marketing, one of your biggest marketing strategies is to blog and to use SEO. Well, if you're blogging and then you stop and then you start and then you stop, you lose SEO because you're doing that occasional marketing thing. If you're a networker and that's how you build your business, and you're a local business and you've done it through that, and all of a sudden you don't go to networking events anymore, which we've all been forced to do, and people stop seeing you, you become, what happened to them? Like, what happened to her? Or what happened to him? Is business still running? I don't see them, right? So occasional marketing creates that thing, and it's a little bit more apparent in a network marketing setting where you have, network marketing not being in a live local marketing setting where, you know, you attend an event and people get used to seeing you. And then when you stop attending, they wonder where you've gone. And then when you start again, right, we recognize as humans what that looks like, but it's the same things happening when we do it on online platforms or in other mechanisms. If we stop emailing our list, they notice, and then when we start mailing it again, they're like, oh, what happened, right? They might not open your emails. You lose consistency. So recognizing occasionally marketing can really cost you. And then the next one is trend marketing. This one came up in a lot of ways. I've seen this year. Clubhouse was a trend in marketing. So all of a sudden people jumped on Clubhouse and they used that to market. And there are some people who have done extremely successful on Clubhouse, but the majority of them did not, right? So we jumped on Clubhouse. That was like the trend marketing. You'll see on Facebook groups and Facebook posts, you'll see these trend of types of posts. There's a big trend of come promote yourself, come join my group. I've used it, works, got a lot of people in my group. Thank you for those who came. I didn't get a lot. I would have to say that type of marketing grew my group, but the quality may not be as strong as other types of marketing. So it brought in a lot of people, but were they the right people for my group? Right? So it's important to understand that. But that was a trend. And you see them, all of a sudden somebody tries a post on Facebook or Instagram, and then you see everybody kind of copying, catting that trend and trying that trend. And then when that trend kind of dies down, they go on to the next thing and the next thing. And there are trends that stick. So the whole idea of a launch, of doing a planned launch, there's a trend. I mean, at one point in time they were new, then they became a trend, and now they make sense, right? There's different formats. You've probably all experienced them, right? Where there was doing challenges. That's definitely a trend, and it's not a bad thing. I do challenges myself. Doing webinars. There's a new model I've seen lately that people are using where they do like, almost like they used to do it used to be called the sideways sales letter, where you would like purposely create 4 videos and you would release each video a different day, and there would be intention on what was discussed in each video, and then on the 4th video you would announce your program. That was around for a very long time. It went from trend to being just kind of how you did it. Now, because of live video and things like that, that trend has moved from doing that kind of pre-recorded, very professionally done videos to actually doing lives and doing live trainings, and that the trend is leaning towards that, which is great, right? That's a trend that you want to follow. But there's trend marketing where you kind of drop on the next thing and you're not strategically using them, and then there's trend marketing where you're looking at what is working, and is that a trend that wants to, or a technique that you want to employ in your marketing. So that's kind of trend marketing. And then the last one that I wanted to talk about, which I want to talk the most about, is data-driven marketing. Now, data-driven marketing, if you Google that term, you are going to find a ton of very complex enterprise, large business philosophies of hiring particular pieces of software and studying and drilling down. That's all great and good, and that is what we need to do that on our level. So what data-driven marketing is, and this is so important, data-driven marketing is using what's happening in your personal business's data, and there's 2 levels to it, and the data in your ideal audience to continue to refine your marketing and to put your marketing resources, because we're all small business owners. Our marketing resources are limited. Sometimes they're just ourselves, sometimes we have someone helping us, but we still have a limited amount of budget. And when I think about marketing budget, I think about time and money. We have a limited amount of budget when it comes to time and money in marketing. So we want to market based on data-driven marketing. So I want to go into a lot more depth about this. The ones that I talked about, if you're shotgun marketing, if you're occasionally marketing, if you're trend marketing, they all feed into it. But if you're not doing data-driven marketing, then you're not getting the biggest bang for your buck, and you're not improving things as you go along. So wherever you are, think about, how do I move into data-driven marketing? And if you hate numbers and you hate math and you're like, Heather, I'm just going to go, you're going blah, 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 blah. I want you to listen, because it doesn't have to be complicated. Data-driven marketing is about recognizing what's working and making it work better. So at the simplest level, data-driven marketing can come from studying your market, right? If we take it away from your own activities and you start to study your market, if your ideal customer is someone who has, if statistically or anecdotally, or there's information out there, if your ideal client is someone who never goes on Facebook, and you're spending 50% of your marketing budget, time and energy on Facebook, and your client's never on Facebook, that is missed data. Right? And if your client is someone who really fits into the mold and the type of people who would hang out on LinkedIn, let's say, so you're the professional, the person who's looking for professional services, something like that. If that makes sense, then that's just a very simple data point, right? Data-driven marketing makes you understand the behaviors of your audience when you're looking at it from an exterior point. And so that's at one level of data-driven marketing, is really spending some time recognizing who your ideal clients are, where they hang out. So for example, I have a client her clients are not in the typical Facebook groups. They're working people who are in a job. So they're not going to be sitting there on Facebook during the daytime. So some data for her is to share, even for those ones that come onto Facebook, they're going to come on Facebook in the evenings and the weekends. So she needs to share her biggest information in the evenings and weekends. So that's learning the behavior of your ideal audience. She would be much better off sharing and building her information up on something like LinkedIn, where they may look at that during their professional day. LinkedIn doesn't get, by the way, even at a high level of studying this, LinkedIn doesn't get a lot of hits or a lot of data, a lot of people listening or watching LinkedIn on the weekends. LinkedIn definitely has a time frame. All of them do, right? And the beauty of this is all this information is there, right? There are so many places that we can pull this type of information to kind of get an idea. So Facebook tells us when we're getting the best engagement, particularly on our Facebook page or in our group. We don't see it on our personal profiles, but we find that out. So we need to really start listening to the data. Because if you're spending a significant amount of time marketing, are you actually getting the bang for the buck? Are you marketing in the right place where your audience hangs out? Are you marketing in the right time of day? So being curious about this is really an important part about data-driven marketing. And you can start at the most simple level, right? You can say, okay, for the next week, I'm going to do X. So let's say, for example, for the next week, I'm going to share my freebie. And I'm going to share my freebie and I'm going to document where I share it. And this doesn't have to be complex. You can document where you share something by having a simple Word document, a simple whatever. And just like I shared my link in these 5 groups and I got no opt-ins. I shared my link in these 5 groups for 3 weeks and I got not a single opt-in. That's not a good investment of your time, right? If you're not getting any hits on sharing that, then your data will tell you that. But if you just share it because you're supposed to, which is that kind of trend marketing, if you just share something and you keep sharing it and you're spending a significant amount or even an insignificant, you're spending a couple of hours a week sharing something and you're getting no return, then that's not a really good use of your time. And so even at the highest level, you can track that, right? You can say, I was out on Facebook, I was in the groups that I like to share in, I posted this thing, my freebie, or an invitation to my group, and I got nobody new in my group. I got nobody new on my list. Well, then that's probably not the best use of my time. If you're doing that and you see, like I have one freebie that every time I share it, I always get 1 to 2 opt-ins, then that's a decent use of my time. That's a good marketing strategy. Then I can get to the next level of data-driven marketing, which is looking at my email list. So if you have an email list, your email list tool is going to tell you a lot about things. You talk about open rates and click-through rates, and retention rates. They're all good pieces of information to understand. So if you put out an email and your open rate, like I have a client whose open rate is amazing. They have a 50% open rate, but they didn't study that. So if you have a 50% open rate, that's a great open rate. How can you leverage that? So what are you leaving on the table by not being really paying attention to those 50% of the people who open all your emails? How can you give them more of what they want? How can you increase your open rate? So if you have a 10% open rate, then what do you need to do to increase your open rate? What titles are working? So if you send something out and I sent something out the other day and it had about 10% higher open rate than I normally have. Why? Right? Why did it resonate more? Was it the content? So number 1, was it the content? Was it the title? Was it the time of day? Was it something that was going on, around that made people more attentive to that particular title? So all these things, without getting into the numbers, are important for you to know. There are tons of tools out there. So if you have another really great data point to understand, if you do have a freebie, or you're having people sign up for a challenge, or you're going to do a webinar, or you have anything like that where people are going to a web page, and on that web page you're asking them to give you your email address or even buy, it works for selling as well, how many people who land on that page are actually opting in? Now, why that's such an important number, if people are reading something you posted somewhere, but whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, doesn't matter. If people are reading something you posted, even your email list, and they click on the link and they go to that landing page, what percentage, they're already engaged people, they're already interested in whatever it is that you were talking about. So you want to get a highest possible amount of people to opt into that. So this is where data-driven marketing comes into. So if you do have that and you've got a freebie and people are landing on it and only, let's say, 25% are opting in, you have an opportunity to go back and look at that page and change the title, change the wording. You want to do little tweaks. If it's possible with whatever software you use, you want to do what's called A and B testing, where you have 2 versions of the same thing and you see which one performs better. And you can do that in emails, you can do that in a lot of things, but you want to do that A and B testing to see which performs better, and then you choose that one. But you should be able to get like a landing page up to 50, 60, 70% opt-in because they're already engaged, right? So if you send 100 people to the page and only 25 people are opting in, that's very different than if you send 50 people to the page, so you're being more discriminative with your text, but you're getting 60% opted in, you're going to end up with 30 some odd people versus 25 people. And if you send 100, you're going to get 60, right? So it's less work. So the cool thing about doing data-driven marketing is that you start to get curious about where your leads are coming from. You get curious about what is working for you and what's not working for you. It is amazing how much time and effort is going into marketing on things like Facebook and Instagram with little to no results. And people are spinning in this kind of, I should be in social media, I should be doing that, but when they actually sit down and look at where their leads are coming from, they're getting more leads from referrals. So if that's the truth, if that's your business, and you're getting more leads and more business and more dollars in from referrals, and you're getting very little in from social media, you have two choices. One is you got to figure out how to make social media work better for you so that you are getting a return on your investment, which is time and dollar. Or you say, I'm just going to let this go at this very low level. I'm going to give it the minimal amount of effort, and I'm going to go and focus 100% on how do I build my referral business? How do I build my partner business? So we want to think about, the term in marketing is channels. So what channels for you are giving you the best results? How do you measure that? Even if it's a gut instinct, how do you measure that at levels? And then how do you make those ones work better? And the ones that aren't really giving you a return on investment, are they ones that you want to continue with? And how do you want to refine them? Because you're looking at your data and you're saying, I got to get better at this. How do you want to include them or exclude them? We all have the challenge. For those who've decided that social media is really a strong part of your marketing strategy, we don't own it. We are walking on somebody else's land and somebody else's property. We grumble about algorithms changing. I was just listening to somebody talk about beating the algorithm. Well, it's not a game. They are in business. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they're all businesses that have to make money. Now, how does Facebook make money? How does Instagram make money? They make money by keeping you on the platform. They make money by you creating content for them. I mean, it's an amazing model when you think about it. So they're going to create it in such a way that you need to spend a lot of time there to really reap benefits, or you need to invest and buy Facebook ads and Instagram ads. That's how they make money. And when you look at these platforms from that perspective, and then you look at your data and your results, and then you can start to play. Some of the really good marketers I know, some of the ones who are really rocking even Facebook, are playing with their numbers. They know their numbers. They know that if they post something there, they're going to get something here. For example, there's a few people out there talking about growing your Facebook groups and how you can do that. And they know that when they post X post in this format, that they're going to bring in this many people. They played these numbers, and they're also very aware of when that trending technique, because they're kind of playing the trend, stops working. And they drop it pretty quickly when it stops working, and they go into the next trending technique. Now, some of those techniques are not going to be ones that resonate well with your values, your method of operation, and that's okay. But what I want to get at with this is that it's important, to be a data-driven marketer. You can be all of the other things, and, there's lots of ways to market. People can market. There are, I know one person who just rocks writing. So her marketing is like 80 to 90% written content. And she's very good at placing that content in the right place at the right time of day to generate the leads that she needs. I know someone else who's built their whole marketing strategy on voice. So they're podcasters, and they've built a really strong marketing platform on podcasting. There can be written market. There's hundreds of ways to market. There is literally hundreds of ways to market, and there's more ways to market off of social media than there is on social media. Social media has only been a tool for the last 15 years, and even then more of a marketing tool for the last 5 or 10 years. Before that, people were marketing, having successful businesses. So online marketing is kind of a new frontier, but even that doesn't have to be social media. So it doesn't matter what you do. It's about measuring. It's about being curious about the outcomes, about how much effort you're putting into something, and is it giving you the benefit that you want? Because that's what's going to get you your business that you want, is, having a method to bringing in more people, to making more people aware of what you do. That's what marketing is. To go from the unaware state where you're unaware of them and they're unaware of you, to bringing them into being on or aware of you and ultimately your customer. And whatever path you put people through, be it from, like I know some people who their method to marketing very successfully is on social media platforms is to bring people into the direct messaging, and they sell in direct messaging. They don't have a list. They haven't built any of that. That's a risky business model, because you can get kicked off of Facebook, you can get kicked off of Instagram, they could change their model and their algorithm tomorrow. So there is a risk in not having an email list. I'm a big component of building your email list, because that is something that you own. And you don't own friends, likes, followers on social media. You can be shut down. It is borrowed real estate. You're paying for your email list to be maintained. You can download it. You own it. It's actually an asset you can sell in the world of businesses. Likes and followers aren't. So you do want to pull people onto your email list as a marketing technique. That's something I believe in. But there are people who are rocking businesses who aren't doing that. There's a risk. There's a risk associated with that. So what I really want you to think about, and why I wanted to do this live, was to really start tracking your data, even if it's at the most simple level. I shared this. Did anybody do that? Right? So all of your marketing should have call to actions. So if your call to action is X, and so if your call to action is to come join my Facebook group, let's say, and you're sharing that for 2 or 3 weeks and you're getting nobody joining your Facebook group, then that's not working for you. How can you make it work? That's data-driven marketing. If you're sharing it and you've kind of found the formula in the right groups where you are getting lots of opt-ins, or so lots of people asking to join your group, are they the right people? So are you attracting the right people for your business? Are these really good leads? So if the answer is no, if they're okay or they're so-so, then you can think about, well, how can I tweak what I put over here to maybe bring in a few less people, but bring in higher quality, higher qualified people. Same with your email list. So if whatever method you're using to grow your email list, is it working? It could be SEO from your website. It could be being guests on podcasts. There's so many ways to do this. Is it working? Are you getting the leads that you want? Is that valuable for the effort? There are people who will, there's a lot of formulas out there when you get into the real depth of this, where you actually, I can't think of the acronym off my head, earning per lead, EPL, or something close to that, where you're looking at how much. So let's say you did a campaign and you made $100,000. Well, how many leads had to come in to do that, right? So if you're only selling at, again, this is why numbers are so important. If you have 20 people who come into your funnel or your campaign, if 20 people come in and one person buys, then you're selling at 5%, right? So if that's your number, then if 100 people come in, you're going to have 5 people buy, right? If 200 people come in, you're going to have 10 people buy, right? So then you know those numbers. So the next part of data-driven marketing is to say, how do I increase each one of those? So if I'm only having people buy at 5%, what could I do? What do I need to do? What's off in my messaging to move that 5% to 10 or 15%, right? If I can do that, I need less people coming in my pipe. If that's kind of the norm, kind of the expectation, and then what do I need to do to bring more people in? Right? I know someone who has this amazing success rate on this end, where from the time somebody goes onto her list to the next call to action to actually booking a call with her, it's quite high, but she doesn't have enough people coming in, right? So without data-driven and thinking about your data and really analyzing it, her initial reaction was it's not working. And so when we peel back the onion, it's actually really working. It's that she doesn't have enough people coming in. So her marketing effort needs to be bringing more people in. She doesn't need to change any of this, which is our inclination. If we're not getting the sales we want to change the process. What she needs to change is how she's marketing it to bring more people in. And that's why knowing your data and knowing your numbers is so vital to your business. And this is not the most exciting topic. Well, I like it. I shouldn't say that. I like it. I think it's an important topic for everyone to consider. But if it's something you're resisting, then we need to talk about it, because this doesn't have to be complicated, but it is really key to your business success. Because you could be sitting on a gold mine of opportunities in your own data. For example, the person I know who converts her list at 50%, she is sitting on a huge amount of opportunity in that list if she was to manage it and manage the list and manage the open and market directly to the people who consistently open, because they love her stuff, right? They love her stuff. It's a consumable entity. So if she was to really focus on that, just working with that 50%, that opening, giving them irresistible offers, setting them up for success, she could increase her revenues without worrying about her audience because she has such a good open rate. The other client I mentioned who has a great webinar kind of process, booking a call, needs to focus on bringing more people in. So our numbers tell us what we need to do next if we listen to them. If we take some time, and we don't need to go into crazy depth. So again, if you Google data-driven marketing, you're going to be like, oh my God, I did that today. There is a ton of really in-depth marketing analysts. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about market based on your data. Make sure that your return on investment is there. If Facebook groups is your marketing, make sure you can measure your return on investment, because if you're spending hours upon hours marketing on Facebook and you're getting nada thing, then that's not going to get your business growing. So you have to look at how can you improve that on Facebook, how you can improve the results that you're getting, or flip platforms, do something different. What's going to bring in the people that you want? So if you want some help with this, if you want to pare this down and peel back the onion to make it work for your business, then just say yes. Just say yes is a bad word to choose. Let me try that again. Just put data in the comments or private message me, email me if you have my email address. Would love to hear from you. Would love to chat about this, because I think this is such an important missing piece that I see in a ton of entrepreneurs, women business owners who aren't focusing on this. Because you can simplify your business by really knowing this. You can simplify and streamline how much time and energy you're putting into this. I know people who perfected this, who are working like 2 to 3 days a week because they've perfected it. And when I was talking about some of the other ones, like shotgun marketing, occasional marketing, trends, I've done them all. And to be completely honest, I've bounced back and forth because it's easy to get attached to the trends, right? It's easy to go, I want to go try that. But it really works when you work with your data, when you get curious about your data, when you make your goals based on your data, on the things that you want to change. So for example, if you need to grow your audience, what are you going to do in the next 3 months to grow your audience so that the rest of the system that you've already got working starts working for you and brings in more revenue? If you need to work on conversions so that your pages and your systems are converting better, then what steps do you need to do to make that work better for you? And if it's already working and you just want to up-level it, where do you need to tweak? So really knowing your data, be curious about it. It's such an important part of your business. And it's not, it's knowing your numbers. I'm a big believer in knowing your numbers and tracking your numbers. So that's all I wanted to say today. I did not see any comments on live, so thank you for those who are on live. I appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, plump them down for me. If I've missed a comment for any reason, I will circle back. If you're listening to the replay, #replay. If you would like some help really working this out, just say data and we can get together on a call and chat about it and really think about where are the data points that you need to look about and how can you create a data-driven marketing system that will get you results. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.